Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and it's just so great to be with you. We are sharing some thoughts from the Eschatology of the Parables of Jesus. We've been taking a quite extensive look at the motif of martyr vindication in Jesus' parables. In Matthew 21, Matthew 22, and Luke chapter 18, Jesus told those parables that very clearly pointed to the time coming at the fall of Jerusalem, the judgment on Old Covenant Israel, when all of the blood of all of the martyrs was going to be vindicated at Christ's coming. And again, in the judgment of Old Covenant Jerusalem. Well, I've been sharing with you how that motif and how those parables give us direct insight into understanding, number one, the dating of the book of Revelation. And the reason for that is because the book of Revelation continues Jesus' teaching on the vindication of the martyrs. I mean, there it is. We find this in Jesus' statement. Watch this. In Matthew chapter 23. Now remember, Matthew 23, it's not a parable, but it most assuredly picks up on the theme of the parables. And Jesus spoke to the audience, the crowd in the Jewish temple. And he said, "You bear witness to yourselves that you are the sons of those who killed the prophets." Because you say, well, if we would have been alive in the days of our fathers, we would not have slain the prophets. But by saying that, you bear witness that you are the sons of those who killed the prophets. Watch this. Fill up then the measure of your father's guilt. Behold, I send to you prophets, wise men, and scribes. Some of them you shall crucify and scourge and chase from city to city, that upon you may come all of the righteous blood of all of the righteous, from righteous Abel unto Zacharias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Now look, this is so rich, and it takes us right directly to Revelation. But before we do that, notice the motif of Old Covenant Jerusalem having killed the prophets. And guess what? They're going to kill Jesus. In Matthew chapter 21, the vineyard, they'll kill the son. But Jesus said, I'm going to send to you prophets, wise men, and scribes. You're going to kill them as well. Luke 11, 49 and following confirms that. I'm going to send you apostles, prophets, wise men, and scribes. And he said, you're going to kill them. In doing so, you're going to fill up the measure of your sin. And he said, all of these things, the blood of all the righteous, will come upon this generation. Now watch this amazing fact. Paul, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, said it was the Jews who had killed the prophets. They had then, when Paul wrote, killed Jesus, and they were killing the apostles and prophets of Jesus. Their sin, they were filling up the measure of their sin, and judgment was about to fall. 1 Thessalonians 2, 14 to 16. Now watch the book of Revelation. In Revelation, we have the great city Babylon that killed the prophets. Revelation 16, verse 6. We have the great city, which is where the Lord was slain. Do we not understand where Jesus was slain? It is the city killing the apostles and the prophets of Jesus. Revelation 18, 20 and 24. The cup of her sin was full. Revelation 17, 6 to 8. And judgment was just about to fall at the coming of the Lord. Revelation 22, 10 to 12. Now I want to ask you something. Here we have Jesus in his parables predicting the vindication of the martyrs in his coming in the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. We have Jesus in his prosaic teaching of Matthew 23, teaching the identical thing. We have Paul in 1 Thessalonians talking about how it was Israel that had killed the prophets. They've killed Jesus. They're killing the apostles and prophets of Jesus. They're filling up the measure of their sin, and judgment was about to fall. We have John repeating that exact precise pattern. The city that had killed the prophets, killed Jesus, killing the apostles and prophets, their cup was full, judgment was about to fall. So I ask you, how in the name of reason, how in the name of solid exegesis, how in the name of logical proper hermeneutic do we come to Revelation? We find the exact precise motif, martyr vindication. We find the exact same pattern, killing the prophets, killing Jesus, killing the apostles and prophets of Jesus, filling the measure of sin, imminent judgment. And the same identical, as just seen, time statement, judgment coming very soon. How, to reiterate, how in the name of reason, how in the name of logic, how in the name of exegesis and proper hermeneutic do we say, oh yeah, you know, Jesus was talking about Old Covenant Jerusalem, and it's obvious Paul was, but John's talking about the Roman Catholic Church, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years later. Or John was talking about literal Babylon at the end of time. Or John was talking about Rome. You do realize Rome never killed an Old Covenant prophet, do you not? None. You see, when we look at the eschatology of the parables of Jesus, it forces us to re-examine Revelation. Since Revelation is about what Jesus predicted in the parables, it's about what Jesus talked about in Matthew chapter 23, it's about what Paul talked about in 1 Thessalonians. Since what Jesus and Paul talked about was coming very, very soon in the judgment of Jerusalem, and what John was talking about was coming very, very soon, then that means they're talking about the same thing, and that's the fall of Jerusalem. And that means Revelation was written prior to the fall of Jerusalem, and it's concerned with the vindication of the martyrs in AD 70. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for this morning's morning musings. Don't forget, I discuss all of this and a whole lot more in my book, Who is This Babylon? You're not going to find this material anywhere else, basically. So go to my website, eschatology.org, BibleProphecy.com, order the book, Who is This Babylon? Mention that you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I will refund your shipping and save you $5. Hey, you have a great and a safe weekend. Lord willing, we'll be back with you on Monday.